Hi, Bill. What's up, man?
We just said I've been traveling. I've been in Georgia, and I'm heading back, and I'm in the car cruising, so you'll occupy some of my time.
Very good. We'll make the next, 10 to 12 minutes nice and easy for you.
Perfect.
Arkansas, Oklahoma State. That was really entertaining football game, man. But so I wonder, what did you think how Arkansas looked? Obviously, lose a game, too many mistakes, but they really looked like they belonged on that field, and they looked like they could be a really tough go for even some of the really good teams in the SEC.
Immediate thoughts. Very impressed, particularly the offense, the quarterback play, obviously Bob Petrino. And then the second thought would be if I were to rank heartbroken teams based on a performance and somehow you lost the game, it'd be Arkansas, right? Now, the biggest upset was DeKalb, Illinois going into South Bend and beating Notre Dame. But the biggest heartbreak's got to be Arkansas. Man, just what a way to lose, and as well as they played. That's tough.
Bill, I kind of, put the season into 3-game increments and thought the Hogs would go 2-1 in these first 3. It looks like they're going to. After what you see, I like how our defense flies around, especially our back end. We struggle to rush the passer, but we're pretty solid against the run. The back end, our D-backs fly around. They're physical. But when you see that Bobby Petrino identifies a Taylon Green, a Jaquindon Jackson, and they go out and get those guys, and then we see them play and how well they are, does that change your mind on Arkansas being, preseason we were the 14th ranked team? Do you think there's a scenario Arkansas could go 4-4 in conference play this year?
It does change my mind. Now, record-wise can be tricky. As we know, it's going to be a more unforgiving league than ever. But I have changed my mind on my bigger picture Arkansas outlook. In the moment, I have to. That was a very impressive performance in a place that's difficult to win against a coach who you could say is the best coach in the history of their school. And he's done an outstanding job there, Coach Gundy. Yeah, my outlook's changed. What I don't know, guys, is we haven't played any conference games at all to judge how this league's going to stack up. And that's where my fogginess is. But I am more impressed and have much higher hopes for Arkansas than I would have 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. There's only been one league game, Kentucky, South Carolina. I think what that tells you is I'm not sure if Kentucky's going to be very good this year.
Right.
But when I look at the schedule for Arkansas now, Auburn, they look terrible against Monroe. A&M, talk about laying an egg against Notre Dame. Mississippi State didn't have a really good performance against Arizona State. These are 3 games that Arkansas can win. And when you look at, I know that 2 of them are on the road at an opponent's home field. Another one is a neutral site in a stadium that's been a house of horrors for Arkansas, but these are 3 winnable games, and really now I'm starting to look at them as must-win.
Way more winnable as a trio, if we're just going to lump them together, than I would have given you, again, just a few weeks ago or all summer long. Very doable. Based on what we've seen now, the one thing I preach for about 1,000,000 years is every week is a redo. Every week, I think we should look at as detached from what you just saw. It may or may not be what you just saw, but it's not a guarantee, and we have lots of examples of that, including Notre Dame. But, yeah, I mean, those games look very, very doable. That A&M game down in Florida is going to be interesting to see what happens there because Billy Napier needs wins just to hang on. He's got a new quarterback, DJ Lagway, who is a fantastic 5-star freshman. I don't even know if they're starting him again this weekend because Mertz is back healthy. And then you got A&M, and A&M needs to go in there and get a W.
I've got to ask you about Auburn because this was and again, you got to be careful about just 2 games in making blanket statements. But this is a year that Auburn was supposed to take a leap forward because it's the second year under Hugh Freeze. He's calling the plays, but they couldn't even get 300 yards at home against Cal. I mean, I wonder what's going on there. I mean, that is a game Arkansas, I think, will win on the plant. Last time they went there, they won that game by running the football. It was a different coaching staff. It was Harsin, but I guess there's a surprise that Auburn had such trouble moving the football. But then should there be? It's the same quarterback, and Peyton Thorne doesn't look any better.
No, and I don't know that they have an answer behind him. Now, they have an answer in recruiting Deuce Knight, if they can flip him from Notre Dame. He's a fantastic quarterback who I think probably would start rapidly for them, but that doesn't help them right now. Peyton Thorne's not the answer. We know this, and every time he's on display, that's proven to be the case. So that's a big worry for them. And I thought it was funny. We had a guy text the show, and he hates Auburn, and he said, "Bill, I can't believe it, but the tree huggers went into Jordan here and beat them. They got beat by tree huggers."
I'm looking at the best wins in week one. I thought USC over LSU. I still don't know why LSU didn't run the ball with 22 more. Week two, Texas going into the big house and getting that victory. And the way they did it made it look easy. If I was to ask you, Bill, my number one would be Texas. My number two would be Georgia. Is Tennessee for real? Who is your 1-2, and how good is this Tennessee Volunteer team for real?
I'd go Georgia 1. I would go probably Texas 2. After that, I'm not sure after that. Probably Ohio State 3.
Mm-hmm.
I was not thinking about them. They haven't been overly impressive, but I would put them number 3. After that, I would go probably an Ole Miss, Alabama, Tennessee. In some order, Tennessee's team is better. I told you about Nico for probably a couple of years now. He is going to be everything he's supposed to be. And they are incredibly good and deep on the defensive front. They liberally substitute 3 players at every position, and you can't tell the difference in any of them. But they all make plays. Linebackers better. Secondary got to be better. It can't be worse. I think they're a little better than I thought. Now, what does that mean? Does that mean you go 10-2 and get in the playoffs? That's what we don't know yet.
So last year, Alabama had some trouble with South Florida. They end up in the playoff. They end up SEC champions.
Right.
This year, they have even more trouble with South Florida. They have a blowout final score, but what was it, a 1-point game going into the fourth quarter? Now they're Alabama actually traveling. I know they did to Texas last year, but now it's to Madison. Could they be in trouble against Wisconsin this week? And after that, it's a bye, and then Georgia, and yeah, that can be trouble.
I just don't think so. I know that historically Camp Randall's tough, and I'm a big Luke Fickell fan. I just don't see it in this particular team, though. I think Alabama's too athletic. I think their trenches are better. They're better at quarterback. I don't see it. Could it be a tough game for a while? Maybe, but I just don't see an upset.
Bill, you got won some Arkansas fans. I know I'll kind of have my eye on this one. UCF with KJ Jefferson, Kendall Briles, TCU. Both these teams are 2-0 going into this game. And I don't know that anybody thinks either one of these teams are contenders, Bill. But which one of these teams out of UCF and TCU do you have having the better regular season this year?
Well, I've got a bias because I know the UCF guys better than I know the TCU guys, meaning the coaches and everything. I think that's a pretty dead even ball game.
Mm-hmm.
And I maybe like UCF slightly better in the matchup, but yeah, those are two attractive teams that are a little underappreciated by the brand names, brand fans, because those two teams are big universities, particularly UCF. But TCU's got money, too, and I've seen them spend it, and they are spending it in the pay-for-play era we're in, and they're located in Fort Worth, which is a fantastic location. Just like SMU, and SMU's struggling this year, but SMU's another place that is geographically advantaged. That matchup, guys, is going to be very fun.
Let's see here. You think Missouri could potentially end up when they play Arkansas the last week of the season with one loss. I mean, I'm looking at this too, and maybe the schedule's a little tougher than we all thought because Boston College is 2-0. Vanderbilt came up with a surprise win against Virginia Tech, but A&M, they don't really look all that good. Auburn, and then the one really tough game for Mizzou is Alabama. We know they have a schedule that looks like a cupcake, but
right.
Will they be tested by BC this weekend? I didn't think BC would end up beating Florida State, but Missouri's probably better than Florida State.
Half of a game. A lot of playmakers. Luther Burden, Brady Cook's back. They're well coached on defense. I wouldn't be totally shocked if there was an upset, but I certainly wouldn't pick it.
Now, and I know you mentioned Notre Dame, and you said you have to kind of forget. I'm kind of leaning towards what you said because when I watched Notre Dame play A&M, I thought, oh my goodness, that's an SEC team playing A&M. And then I watched the next game against NIU, and you're like, oh, I don't see how they're going to score 25 against anybody. If you're at Notre Dame, if you're the University of Notre Dame, how nervous are you right now? Do you think that was a real deal? Do you think Notre Dame still can win 10 games, or is Notre Dame in trouble?
Oh, I think they can win 10 games, but their problems have not been solved, and that is verticality offensively. They're plenty good enough defensively. They gave up 16 points. That's winning ball right there. Their offense cannot vertically get the ball down the field. Some awful play calling, too. Now, Mike Dimbrock is a very good coordinator, and he'd been at Notre Dame in the past, and most recently was at LSU when they had a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback this past year. But I don't think he had a very good day at play calling. They're moving the ball up one in the fourth quarter in NIU territory, 2nd and 1. They throw it deep, except it's underthrown. The receiver is 5 yards open. It's underthrown. The safety curls back, picks it, takes it to midfield. That's the play of the game right there. It was a terrible situational awareness call. A quarterback who apparently they don't think can throw it 50 yards, and Riley Leonard, because at the end of the game, guys, they tried a 62-yard field goal. They already had one blocked from 48, and they had about a 50-yard throw to the end zone for a Hail Mary, which most of those don't work, but it's probably a better percentage play. That was a very weird game, guys.
Bill, I guess we'll leave it there as we got 13 minutes of your drive that we helped you there. How much longer do you have to go until you're home?
I don't know if you guys know the geography. I'm almost to the borough, which puts me about 45 minutes out.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I've been to the borough a few times. I know what that flying horse looks like on the football stadium. Bill, appreciate you, man. We'll visit again next week. Safe driving.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Thanks, Bill.
Bill King, Nashville Sports Radio, with us each Tuesday on Halftime.
BetOnline is your number one source for all your betting needs. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, and more. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your phone. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and get in on the action. Remember to use our promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, where the game starts.